Hey, what's up? I thought I would do a little shop update, show you guys what I'm working on. A part that I've been kind of posting some pictures on Instagram. Give you a look at that. This is first side. I'm doing it in the lathe. Had some trouble with countersinking these holes, and after talking with the customer, it's better that it's a counter bore, flat bottom, for the type of screw that he puts in there. I've got an MPT thread on the end. I'm using a thread mill. Take me some work on manipulating the software to be able to do it in this type of a lathe. But I used what's called, I guess, a form mill. It's the full height of the thread, so technically I only got to go around one time to get the whole thread pattern, which when I called for a little bit of help from the tool maker, they told me I still needed to go all the way to the top, which is not quite right. But they're coming out pretty well. It's got a little flat on one side, counter bores. This will be a little bent once I finish the second side. Second side's going to have some internal threads and a drilled hole that meets all the way up to here to the MPT. I'll have the setup going in the mill in a couple days. Right now these are running for the next couple days, or another day at least. It's kind of hard to see what's going on in there. Bunch of splashing. Got the chips. Got a little mess over here, it looks like, but really I just can't afford to buy toolboxes and stuff. That toolbox I've had since I was 18. But for the most part, it's organized enough for me. I got a bit of OCD when it comes to that anyways. These are all the rest. I got to cut them down to 2 feet. I don't have a bar feed. They got to be under 3 foot. 2 feet comes out pretty nice as far as leftover material for each one. And these are the smaller pieces that are left at the end of the bar. I'll have to figure out. But right now I've got it on auto, running about 8 at a time. Takes a little bit. So that's the part that's currently running in the lathe. I'll show you what's in the mill. This is what I have so far. I got about 90 pieces of this run that are going to go in the mill next. I just finished 270 of these things. That was what was in there on the last video. In the mill, we're setting up for the next job. I'll probably try to go over work offsets and machine home position again, because after watching that video I think I made myself confused. And over here pretty much continually running cuts, material, bandsaw. Got a whole bunch of this to do. Keep me busy for a while over here. And I got the next job sitting up on the wall here. So, be cutting forever, feels like. I guess my little camera mount GoPro thing broke. This plastic doesn't like the coolant, I guess. Disintegrates. Pulled the whole bolt out of the bottom of it. I tried screwing it on because the tabs broke, but I'll have to fix that again. See if I can explain the machine home and the work offsets, which is your program home. And home, I mean X, Y, Z, 0. Everything in here is basically a coordinate system, and we're going to move from one coordinate system to another, or at least tell the machine where each one is. So right now I have the machine set at machine home, which is coordinate system for the machine itself. That is having the table moved in the X and Y in this machine all the way to the right and forward. The Z, which is the actual spindle that moves up and down, is set in a different way. It's with tool offsets. So I'll show you where the table is right now with the machine home XY0 and a picture of X, Y, and Z that's on the machine, so you can kind of see the directions. So this is the directions. You've got X positive, Y positive, X negative, Y negative, and Z positive and negative. You got the machine, the table and the machine pushed all the way to the right. Because you can see it's got room to go that way, and it's got room to go back, but it's got no room to come forward, and it's got no room to go that way. So this would be machine home, or machine X and Y 0. Alright, so now I'm using this tool as a pointer. So from where the table was, the home location, machine home, where it was over here, to right here is where I'm calling my first, or one of my work offsets. So what we do is we store that distance the table is moved in your work offset. And this is where you store it. They call them basically G numbers. You get a series of numbers that you can store a whole bunch of locations if you got a lot of parts to make. So right now I'm using G57 for this particular location, and that is the distance in the X and Y from where the home position is for the table. And what I will have is G56 for another part and G55 for another part, which I use to do two parts from by manipulating the program itself. So now I've moved over to what's G56, my work offset for this particular part. And then I've got one more which will be over here. And now I've moved it over to what's G55, my third work offset. So all of those are stored in the machine so that it can do the math to know if I tell it to move 1 inch from 0, 0 for G56, it's going to move 1 inch from there, but it's also going to add the distance from there to where machine home was. It does all the calculating for you when it comes to that. But in the program and the software at the computer, I can program everything and get all the numbers from this being X and Y 0. So if we look on the computer, now that I'm in the office, you can see that this is the coordinate system for the program. So that'll be X and Y 0 for the program, and I've told the machine how far away that is from where it knows a location, which is machine home. So it's going to calculate that automatically. And now that's how the software and the machine know where each other are. So hopefully that helps out a little bit, makes it a little more clear. I'll find out when I make this edit. And that's really what all these edits are for me, to try to figure out a way to explain myself, which has never been something good that I'm very good at. Alright, so now the machine knows where the end of the tool is without ramming it into the table or something is a little bit different. It's tool offsets, and that goes on the Z axis. So right now the machine is up almost as far up as it goes. As far up as this spindle will go would be basically the Z0, and it knows where that is. But now I got to tell it where the bottom of the tool is, and in order to do that I've got to touch it to something that it knows what I'm touching. So I'm going to pretend that this little spot right here is a 0 to touch my tools off of, so that way the machine will know exactly where it can take that. If I go to 0 with the Z on the tool, then it will put it right on there. And without, well, technically if you touch two things on the same line, it'll hit. But at least it'll know. So if I want to be a ½ inch above that, I can type in the program to be a ½ inch above a 0, and it'll be above by a ½ inch. So that's how we tell the machine where the program is without just the tool crashing off. Alright, so I've dropped it down to within a ½ inch of this. And in the computer, I'm going to tell it, and in the machine, I'm going to tell it that tool number 4, from all the way up to down to there, it's that far. So now if I want to tell it to be a ½ inch above here, it knows how to get back there without smacking that. And you've got to set every tool to a common location in order to have all of your tools know that, or your machine know where all of your tools are, in order to keep track of it and not hit anything you don't want it to hit. I've already put 2 tools in now. I've got to put the rest of these tools in for this job. Now if I left the machine thinking that this was my 0, and I went to run the program, and I told the program to be, you know, a little bit down from the top of here, based on it being like, say, a ½ inch up from here, well, it would actually think it's a ½ inch up from here and pretty much wipe all this stuff out. So in my work offset for this particular one, I tell it the difference from here to here, which is going to be the bottom of my part or my material, and it stores that offset in there, so hopefully I don't drive the tool down into my vise. No, I didn't drive the tool down into my vise here. I can't afford really good tool holders. I use what they call collet holders, and one time I was trying to cut too much material, and what it did was it kind of pulled the tool out slowly, and then it made it start dragging. So I stopped and had to reduce my depth of cut and stuff like that to get it to where it wouldn't pull the tool out. So eventually I'll get some different type of holders that can hold the tool better, so I can use this particular machine to more of its potential. It's actually a pretty robust machine. Now you can see the difference from the 2 places is 1.73. So now it knows when I say Z0, it's going to be at the bottom of my material, not where I touched it off. Maybe that's a little bit more clear, but who knows. If not, I'll keep trying, just because it's what this practice is for, to help me figure out how to explain stuff to you before I start doing some stuff that you might find really interesting and not be able to follow. Alright, well, I'll run some of these and you can check it out after. Alright, so I had to run the program one time so that I can get the parts for the second side, but this is what it looks like before I start the program. We've got fresh blocks to start off side 1, and then after I've run first side, you can see I flipped it over, and I got to get rid of the part that I'm holding on to right here and do the bottom details. Alright, let's wrap this up, show you how the parts come out. I've got first side on the left, and then I flip them over and run the second side on the right, and it gives me 2 completed parts. Well, I got one more off with some holes in the side, so but completes these 2 offs. Hopefully that was easier to understand. I'll see what happens when I check out the video, but I'll make another one in another day or 2.